from the back and work your way to the front, okay? You may not like to do that. That's okay. You don't have to do it. But for some students who have struggled with their attention, after a short time, their attention starts to wander. I generally advise that they start from the comprehension and work their way backwards. So from hard questions to easy questions, rather than starting with the MCQ, which is easy, and then get harder and harder, and your attention gets, lower and lower, right? So while you are fresh, while you're energetic, while you're attentive, it may help that you start with the more difficult section, which is the comprehension. Okay, so I leave this up to you all. You all can decide how you want to approach the paper, but either way works. Okay, either way will work. So today I'm going to start at the back with the comprehension, and I'll start with the first comprehension. This is the one on George. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how you can annotate without spending too much time on your annotations so that you can focus on answering the questions. So we always start a comprehension with the question first, not the passage, but the question, okay? So the first time you read your passage, you just read it. You don't need to highlight anything, read through at least once so you get a gist of the story. So right over here, gist, okay? Please write this on the margin of your passage, gist. Can all of you see Mr. Pang's handwriting? Okay, not your heads, good. Okay. So gist refers to the big picture. What is this story about? Who are the main characters? Okay, so it will answer questions like what is the story about? Who is the main character in the story? And why is this story happening? Right, so these are the three main questions you must always answer when you read for the first time for gist, right? Gist is a big picture. What is the big picture? It is including the what, the who, and the why of what you are reading. Okay, everybody, all good so far? Right? So what, who, and why is the first reading. Then the second time you read will be after you read the questions. So you will go back to the questions. We'll scroll down to the questions. Can I scroll? Are you all done? Okay, so now I go to the questions. So question 33. Now, something you must always pay attention to, and I want you to highlight along with me, is the number of marks. Okay? So the marks will tell you how many pieces of information. Okay? Pieces of information. The marks are there to tell you how many pieces your answer should have. So in this case, 1 mark means 1 piece. Got it? 1 mark means 1 piece. Everybody good? All right. So I just need to find one answer. Then let's highlight George. So what is George's occupation, right? So this is asking for his job. Okay. And so I can find this very clearly in the first paragraph. So I'm going to scroll up. Have you all highlighted George? Okay, good. Have you written the word job? Okay, good. Now we scroll back up to the first paragraph. Why? Because the first question always references the first paragraph. And I'm going to highlight, okay? He had arrested 2 drivers and he had caught a shoplifter, okay? So who has the authority to arrest and to catch, right? Obviously, this is going to tell me the answer to this. So which one is the correct answer? Let me just call on somebody, okay? Hidayah, what was your answer to question 33, please? Unmute yourself and give me the answer to question 33, please. I cannot hear you. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself on Zoom and answer my question, please, Hidayah. Hidayah, are you there? Can you hear me? I'm giving Hidayah a chance to answer. Can you all please give her some time? so that she can try to answer. Hidayah, this is our 16th Zoom session. Please don't tell me you are unable to unmute yourself. Oh dear, this is not good. All right, never mind. Yafia?
Police officer.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, police officer is absolutely correct. Okay, so a police officer is someone who has the power both to arrest and to detain suspects, right? So in the case of the shoplifter and in the case of the person who was speeding, right? The police officer is the one that has the power to capture or to detain them. Okay, so it's definitely not the paramedic or the pedestrian. Okay, good. So question 34. So I'm now looking at the marks, right? So there's 2 marks. So how many pieces of information? Show me with your fingers. How many pieces of information? 2. So I'm looking at 2 pieces of information here, right? So again, 2 things that George could not wait to do when he reached home. So I'm highlighting the keywords here, okay? So again, I will likely find my answer in either the first or the second paragraph. And again, I will only look at the first or the second paragraph, and then I will find it here, right? George was eager to get home to bathe and to have his dinner. Now, the word home is my keyword. So I want to circle this. Why? Because in the question, it asks you about what does he want to do when he get home. Okay, so 1 and 2. Okay, so this is 1, this is 2. Everybody following so far? All good? Okay, so therefore, I just need to write down those 2 items. I don't need to write it in a sentence. I can simply list them 1 and 2. Okay, so do. So if I see a question with the word do, my answer must have a verb. This is a verb. This is a verb. Can you all see? Okay. If I ask you what I want him to do or what he wants to do, then my answer must be a verb. If I'm asking you about something, then it must be a noun. Okay. So the question controls the answer. You cannot just write down anything you like. You must follow the question. In this case, the question is asking you for what to do. Okay. Yes, Keen? You are muted.
You wrote bath and have a bath. You wrote twice. Supposed to be not wait
I'm
to
sorry,
have his
yes.
dinner.
Okay, have his dinner. Thank you. Okay. So again, bathe, not bath, bathe. Bathe is a verb, and have his dinner, have is also a verb. Okay. So please make sure that you scribe it incorrectly. Okay. Yep. All right. So now let's go on to question 35. Okay. Which word in the sentence from paragraph 2 tells you how George got, okay, sorry about that, how George got to the accident scene. So how did he get? And I want to circle the word how, okay? How he got to the scene, all right? So the manner in which, manner, okay? Yeah. So I'm looking for a word that describes how he got to the accident scene, right? Yishan, would you like to tell me what was your answer for this, A or B?
B.
B, very good. He sped to the location. So the answer is definitely B. So circle B. Remember, you must circle. Can you see here? You must obey the instructions. If they ask you to circle, and instead of circling, you go and tick, you will not get any marks. Right? You must follow the instructions that the question has given to you. In this case, circle A or circle B. All right, so you circle B. Why? Because this is how he sped. Sped means that he went very quickly, right? He did not delay, but he went very quickly to the scene of the accident without any delay. Are you all good so far? All good? Okay, let's go on to the next question. So the next one, I want you to highlight. So remember to highlight the marks. Okay, in the exams, I want you to do the same. So one piece of information, again, which word from paragraph 3 tells you that the man was trapped in the car, and I want to circle the word trapped. Okay, so which word tells me that the man was trapped inside his car? Renice, which answer did you choose, A or B? Louder, please. B, okay, very good, well done. So this is correct. I freed him from, to free someone means that they had to be trapped, right? Okay, if someone is not trapped, you don't need to free him, right? But because he was trapped inside the car, he could not get out by himself. The paramedics and the policemen had to help him out to free him. Okay, very good. So far, are we all doing well? Okay, right. Can you please total the number of marks here, right? So the total number of marks for this page is 1 mark, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the total is upon 5. Okay, please give yourself a score upon 5, and don't forget to put a tick or cross next to your answer, because we are marking all our answers for this script. Okay, is everyone done? Have you awarded your marks? Okay, let's go. Next question. Again, this is 1 mark. Highlight that. Okay, sequence of events. So which one happened first? Which one happened second? And which one happened third? Okay, so let's go back to this paragraph. Paragraph 4, right? They said paragraph 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here. This paragraph here. Okay, so can you see the ambulance and the paramedics is number 1. Okay, highlight that. Then George called the police station is number 2. Okay, so first the paramedics arrived, then George called the police station to report what happened, and then while he was waiting for the police officers to arrive, right, he spoke to a few eyewitnesses. Okay, so this is number 3. Okay, so he spoke to a few eyewitnesses while he was waiting for the police officers to arrive. Have you highlighted and numbered 1, 2, and 3? Okay, all good? Xavier, is everything okay on your end? Are you following? Xavier, are you able to hear me? Xavier, are you able to hear me? Xavier, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's move on. So let's come back over to the sequencing. So first, the paramedics arrived, right? Then second, George called the police station. And then while he was waiting for the police officers to arrive, he spoke to a few eyewitnesses in this sequence. Did you all get this sequence? Right? Did you follow the sequence? Very good. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, question 38 and 39 are true and false, so you must take the correct one. Okay, and then we'll come to the end of this passage already. So many people alerted George to the man who was trapped in the car. Many people. Okay, so let's go back to the scene over here and let's highlight it. Okay. Officer, there's a man trapped in there, shouted a woman, pointing at the blue car. So I want to circle the word woman. So was that many people or was it just one person? Yeah, just one person, right? So this is not true. This is false. Why? Because it's only one woman, right? It's only one woman who alerted George to the trapped man. So I have to be very careful here. And again, let's highlight the marks. This is 2 marks because I need to have 2 pieces of information, right? Then the next one, George was the one who called for an ambulance. Again, let's see if this is true from the passage, okay? Right at the beginning in the first paragraph, okay, you see, an ambulance is already on its way there, right? So did George call for the ambulance? No, somebody else had already called. So by the time George was informed of the accident, an ambulance was already on its way. So again, can you see I'm highlighting only what is relevant to the question, right? I'm not highlighting and annotating everything in the text because that will spend too much time. So I'm only looking at the questions after my first reading for gist, and then I'm using the questions to guide my exploration of the text the second time I'm reading it. So the second time I'm reading it, I'm reading for detail. Okay, so first time was for gist, second time is for detail, right? So can we scroll back up to the passage here where I wrote gist, right? So the second time, so first time is for gist, second time is for detail. Okay, and what do I mean by detail? I mean pieces of information that will be answers to my question. Okay, how many pieces? How many marks, right? If it's 1 piece, it's 1 mark. If it's 2 pieces, it's 2 marks. All good, everybody? So I'm looking for information now. So my first reading, I read for gist. I'm looking for who, what, and why. Second time I'm reading for detail. And what am I reading for? I'm reading for information because I'm answering specific questions about the text. Is everybody good? Show me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on to the next section. Awesome. Right, let's go. Let's go to the next section, the next text, and we'll end here after we finish the second text, okay? I will send you the answers to the closed passage by itself. You all can go through it yourselves, okay? And then we will have done our homework, okay? Good, everybody. You are doing very well, huh? Thank you all for being so focused and on task as we go through this together. Okay, so this next one is about Tommy and his encounter with his teachers, okay, and his fear of public speaking. So remember to read first for gist and then for detail, right? Gist and detail. So now I just go straight to the question. I'm assuming you all read it already, right? So I can just go straight to the question. Highlight the marks, always make that a habit. So you don't forget to see how many pieces of information you are required to find. Okay, then Tommy tried to hide behind his textbook because. So what was he afraid of? Okay, what was Tommy afraid of? Let's find again in the passage. Was Tommy afraid of Mr. Woon? No, right? He wasn't. Okay, you can see here that he was, right, over here. He dreaded Mr. Woon's lesson because he was sure he would be called up to answer a question. So calling him up to answer a question is what he dreaded. Okay, so let's go ahead. Highlight this sentence, underline called up to answer a question, and link that to the word dreaded. Okay, we learned this word in Heartbeats in the Dark, remember? About the dreaded death, right? That was our hero's cousin, right? The bully who was his cousin, right? So dreaded. Okay, so this is a familiar word to all of us. Therefore, the answer is he did not like to speak up in front of the whole class, right? Because he didn't want to answer questions in front of everybody. Okay. Did all of you get this correct? Most of you get this correct? Okay, good. I'm sorry, before we carry on, this previous page, can we add up the marks here? Down here is 3 marks, right? So there should be upon 3 marks. The previous page, okay? Don't forget to add up the marks for the previous page. Mr. Pang forgot. Okay, so please write how many marks you got upon 3 marks for the second page of the previous comprehension. Okay, I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, when you're done, turn your papers back to continue on with the second passage. Okay, all good? All done already, everybody? Awesome. Okay, thank you. So let's come back here. The second question, okay. When Mr. Woon asked Tommy what was a noun, so when he asked Tommy what was a noun, what was Tommy's response. Okay, so let's go look again in the passage. Okay, so I'm showing you what I'm doing to annotate. It's very easy, right? I'm just highlighting, right? Okay, so can you see here? Okay, this is where it happened, right? So his face went red and he felt all his classmates' eyes on him. This is what happened when he was asked the question, right? So let's highlight, please tell us what a noun is. And let's highlight his face went red and he felt all his classmates' eyes on him. Okay, and let's draw an arrow to link that to the first part. And again, the question is simple, right? So face turned red. Okay, which one of these answers is the correct answer? Chloe, can you tell me which answer you chose? Cringed? Ah, no, that's not correct. Cringe was the first paragraph, right? So is what happened in the first paragraph. Write that down, huh? He cringed when Mr. Woon asked him the question about, he cringed when during the maths question, right? So that's not the correct answer. Let's see. Can I have Ethan to try this answer, please?
Blush.
Sorry? Blushed. Very good. Yeah, that's why. Can you explain to us why blushed is the correct answer?
His face turned red.
Very good, right? So the definition of a blush is when your face turns red, right? His face turned beet red, remember? Up here we highlighted his face went red, right? Yeah. Or his face turned red, okay? So that's the clue that tells me that he blushed. And you must know what this word means, right? If you don't know what blushed means, then you might get this question wrong, okay? Chloe, do you understand? So you saw the word cringed, so you thought that was the answer, but you must be very careful because cringed was in the first paragraph. Now we are in the second question already, okay? So you have to follow the sequence of the text so you don't give the wrong answer, okay? And look out for the clues. Face turned red. Good, but never mind, it's a good try. Next question, what does the word us in line 4 refer to? So let's find us in line 4. Okay, here, line 4, us. So who is us? Us is two things actually. Okay, let's see if you all got the answer to this one correct. This is quite challenging. Josiah, you want to try? Go ahead, Josiah.
Class is Mr. Woon and the class.
Very good. You cannot just say the class, right? You must say Mr. Woon and the whole class. Okay? So you have to write that, huh? Okay, but I will accept class. If you didn't write the word whole, I will still accept it. Okay? But the ideal answer would be Mr. Woon and the whole class. Okay? But of course, the word whole is optional. If you just wrote class, I will accept it. You must have Mr. Woon though. Mr. Woon
Mr.
is
Pang,
compulsory. Yes, Ethan?
I put Mr. Woon and Tommy's classmates.
That's fine because Tommy's classmates refer to the class. Keen?
I wrote the word us with an open and closed inverted comma refers to Mr. Woon and the students in the classroom.
That's fine, okay? But there's no need to repeat the question. You can simply write down the answer, okay? Yeah. So that's fine. Or I think as long as you have the word class or his students or his classmates, I will accept. Okay? Very good. Thank you. And remember to highlight the number of marks again. Don't forget, right? So this 1 mark is not easy. Yeah? It requires 2 parts, Mr. Woon and the whole class. Okay, next one, sequence. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can give somebody else a chance to do this. Caitlin, would you like to tell me which one comes first?
Tommy felt that everyone was looking at him.
Very good. You are absolutely right. And then why don't you tell us which one's second as well? And third?
The second one is Tommy remembered his sister's advice.
Very good. Excellent. And of course, then the last one is Tommy thought of a way to overcome his fear, right? Thank you, Caitlin. That's perfectly correct.
Mr.
Okay, so
Pang,
that's 1 mark. Yes, go ahead.
for the previous question, I wrote only the whole class.
Whole class cannot. Because us refers to Mr. Woon. When Mr. Woon says us, Mr. Woon is including himself. If it's just the whole class, then Mr. Woon would have said them. Okay, because Mr. Woon doesn't include himself, the word would have been them. Can you all see the difference between us and them? Okay, when I say us, it always includes myself. When I say them, it always excludes myself. So you must be very careful which word is being asked for. If it's us, always include the person speaking into it. Okay, so this is a tricky question. That's why I told you this 1 mark is not easy to earn. Okay, Caitlin, you got it? Okay, excellent. Okay, let's move on. Next one. Which 4-word phrase? This one you're very careless. 4-word means how many words? 4 lah, right? That means your answer here must be 4 words. Okay. Many of you, I don't know why, you read the question, but then you give something else, right? If the question asks for 4 words, can you give 5 words? Can you give 3 words? Can you give 2 words? Cannot. You must give exactly 4 words. And it must come from paragraph 3. If it comes from any other place, it's also wrong. So follow the question. In paragraph 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So which 4 words tell you that Tommy had to make an effort to be brave? That means he had to make an effort to be brave. Which 4 words in paragraph 3? Jing Kai, go ahead.
Muster
Jing Kai, unmute and tell the answer, please.
up his courage.
Very good. Muster up his courage, which just nice turns out to be 4 words. Okay, muster up his courage. And this one is very important. If you copy wrongly, you will get it wrong. So you must copy very carefully here. Okay, muster up his courage, and you must spell every word correctly, or the entire question will be wrong. Now let's give ourselves a mark. Right, this page has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks. So I have my total upon 5. Go ahead and score myself upon 5, please. And we are down to our last page. Well done, everybody. We're finishing up soon, okay? Good job, okay? At this point, are there any questions? It's quite straightforward, right? Can you all just remember, you read the passage at least twice. First time for gist, who, where, or who, what, and why. And second time for detail, pieces of information according to the questions, right? So you're guided by your questions in the second time you read the text. And please remember to highlight the marks, because the marks will tell you how many pieces of information you need for each question. All good so far? Very clear, right? Very simple, right? Okay, next page. Okay, now this one is slightly more difficult. So you have to look at here, the start and the end of the story. Okay, so how he answered at the start and how he answered at the end. I must compare the two. Okay, so if I go all the way to the top, I go to the start. Okay, and then I highlight here, he was unable to answer the question properly. This is the start. Can you see? Right at the beginning of the story, right? He was very nervous. He was very scared. So the result was he was unable to answer the question properly. So that's the start. Then right at the end, okay, here it says,
Mr. Pang,
I wrote he was a bundle of nerves as he tried to answer Mr. Woon's question.
Okay, can you please hold on and let me finish first before you volunteer any answers? I'm not done yet, okay? Okay, so let's go on. So the second part, where do I highlight it? I highlight here, he explained each step slowly and solved the problem. You all must be careful. This is not Mr. Woon, right? This is who? Who is explaining the problem and solving the problem carefully? Right? Yes, it's Tommy, right? So this is the end. Okay. Right. So this is the end. So at the beginning, right, he was so nervous, right? He could not answer the question. Okay. Right at the end, right, he was able to explain and solve the question or the problem. Okay. So that is what I want to capture for before and after. Okay. So let's go back to the question. Okay. So at the start, he was unable to answer Mr. Woon's questions properly. Okay, why? Because he was very nervous, but I don't need to state how he feels, because this question is not asking you how did he feel, Ethan, right? The question is how he answered, right? So I don't need to say that he was a bundle of nerves. Why? Because that's not what the question is asking for. Do you all understand, everybody? Let me finish, then I will accept questions. Okay, Yishan, don't ask questions now. Let me finish first. Okay, so then at the end, how did he answer? He was able to, what was he able to do? He was able to explain each step and solve the problem, right? So he was able to explain each step and solve the problem. Okay, so in the beginning, he was unable. At the end, he was able. Can you see the difference, right? So this is the ideal model answer. What I'm looking for in your answers should be that you say that he cannot answer, and then at the end, he can explain and he can solve the problem. Okay? If you write anything else, then it is not correct, right? But if you are unsure and you want to check with me now, now you can raise your hands. Okay? Let's hear a few. Keen, go ahead.
For the start of the story, I wrote, Tommy could not answer Mr. Woon's questions because he does not like to speak in front of a lot of people.
Okay, I will accept it. Anybody else? Okay, very good. Then let's go on to the last few questions to finish up now. Okay, so I'm going to go very fast here because I'm running short of time and I need to log off soon. Okay, because I've got to go back to marketing. Okay, so Mr. Woon offered some advice to Tommy. So let's go to the top here. Did Mr. Woon offer any advice to Tommy? Okay, you look here. Okay, did Mr. Woon give Tommy any advice? No, right? Yeah, so the answer is false. Okay, answer is false. So I need to write the word false here. It's false, right? Okay, please write true or false. Okay, so if Mr. Woon is not the one who gave Tommy advice, then who gave Tommy advice? Who was the one, right? Yeah, who's the one? Renice?
Her sister.
Tommy's sister, right? Not her, Tommy is a boy. Tommy is his. Okay, so as long as you write that Tommy's sister gave him advice or his sister gave him advice, I will accept. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Tommy was very poor at mathematics. True or false? Josiah, true or false?
False.
False. And what's the reason? Tell me why.
He was able to solve
Mr. Woon's mathematics question step by step.
Okay, that's fine. But I think solve the question is good enough. Okay, as long as you have something about him solving the question, is good enough. Okay, or as long as you could have him explain the question is good enough. Okay. All right. Yes, Ethan.
I wrote he solved a very difficult math sum.
Thank you. Good enough. Keen.
I wrote Tommy could answer the questions, but
Good.
he
Good enough. Thank you. All right. Okay, let's go. Last question. Why did Tommy, so again, highlight the marks. Why did Tommy feel that his idea was a success? Okay, why did Tommy feel that his idea was a success? Okay, and it's here, right? So what's the answer? Oh, okay, sorry, Mr. Pang just has to go ahead. He had overcome his fear of public speaking. Okay, and here I'm looking for overcome fear. Okay, I must have this word overcome and fear. Okay, if I don't have the word overcoming and fear, then it's not a correct answer. Okay, anybody wants to check the answers with me very quickly before I end the session? Yes, Josiah.
For 46,
Mhm.
the reason I put Mr. Woon just stood in front of the class and looked at Tommy.
No, that doesn't answer the question. If Mr. Woon didn't give him advice, you must tell me who gave him advice, not what Mr. Woon did not do. Okay? 2 zeros do not make up a 1. You must give me the 1. What's the 1? The 1 is the who gave him the advice. Okay? All good, everybody? Right? Any other questions? Please clarify me now. All right, very good. Please then total up your marks at the bottom here. This page has altogether 5 marks as well. 2 marks, 2 marks, and then 1 mark. So you get a total upon 5. Okay, so total your marks up upon 5 for this section. Okay, I will send you, along with the video recording of today's session, the final answers for your closed passages as well. So you should be able to come up with a total mark for your paper after I send that document to you. Can you all please total that and bring your papers to school tomorrow? Not tomorrow, sorry, on Thursday when you come back to school. Can everybody? Right, tomorrow we will not have a Zoom session. You all take a break. Okay, then we will continue with more practice papers when you come back to school on Thursday. All good, everybody? Very good. Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, then you all can log off. Thank you. I'll see you on
Bye,
Thursday.
Mr. Pan.
Bye. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye.
Good job.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good job, everyone.